You don't get credit for things being less crappy than they were when you made them really crappy. I mean, that's not.
So, was there anything in 2020 that you think maybe influenced that, or what do you think led to the spike in inflation that we see?
An
that
increase
we are
in
now
government
coming
spending.
down from. Oh, really? There wasn't any kind of effects on manufacturing or goods and services around that time that maybe affected the prices of those things?
Well, yes, but the increase in government spending had something to do with it as well. It's both things. I'm not suggesting.
Well, what was that factor that wasn't government spending?
Are you talking about COVID?
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you understand?
Wait, hold on. The way you asked that, do you think that was a profound point?
Well, I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page of what caused
Adolph, you believe that was a profound point. Holy crap. That's amazing. Hold on one second. Hold on. Shut your ignorant mouth for just a second, Adolph. Yaffee, you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to give the example of Biden's doing this with government spending as well. Oh, I've lowered the deficit.
Yep.
After we've blown out spending. The deficit this year is going to be $2 trillion, by the way. But that won't have an effect on inflation, according to Adolph there.
Can I finish, Simone? Will you just shut up for a minute and let me finish?
Pardon me, sir. You don't get to tell me to shut up on national television.
We don't tell people to shut up on this show.
I made the mistake of engaging a Twitter troll today. They demanded they be called by their Twitter name, which I was obviously not going to do. They then tried to defend Kamala Harris's record on inflation while proving they have no idea what inflation even is, and suggested the solution to all of this is more price control. That's the solution because Kamala Harris has declared that it is, and now everyone loves what Kamala Harris wants to do. But they will show you that they have absolutely no idea what price control will do. This guy embarrassed himself, wasted my time, and now I'm wasting yours. News Talk, 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Dale Jackson here with you. Thank you very much for being here. A titan of intelligence will be joining us here in just a second. His name is Zambonilad. He is one of the first people ever on Twitter to be like, I'm going to call your show and show you what for, who actually picked up the phone and did so. So I give him some credit for that. We'll get to that in just a very quick second. Before we do that, though, let me remind you of something. And this is always important for you to know. Twitter is not real life, and anyone that refuses to give you their real name is a clown. Okay? Okay, good. Let's get to the Alabama A&M $350 million Bulldog hotline. Zambonilad is with us. A man who in his profile will tell you he is a him, but won't tell you what his actual name is. I'm not asking for like your government name and your address. I just wanted to have like a real conversation where I don't have to say, hey, Zambonilad. But that was too hard for you, right? You couldn't give your actual name. You're so proud of your beliefs, you can't even give your actual name. Is that correct?
Hey, Dale. Thanks for taking my call. And I appreciate you doing a little bit of an exception and being willing to call me by my X Everything website handle. That's really big of you. But I did want to talk about, the tweet or the.
Okay, hold on. You missed the question. You put in your profile he, him as your pronouns because you want people to refer to you as that. And I can see how people could make that mistake, call you something else. But
yeah, what does that have to do with economics?
But you don't want to tell me, just like if your name was Mark, you think that would give you away. So many people know you that you're worried. Why are you worried about whatever position you're about to take and thing you're about to say reflects poorly on you as a real human being that you have to hide your identity?
Yeah, those are words you said, Dale. I didn't say that at all. So what I wanted to ask you is you have a post that says
hold on one second.
Inflation is going down.
Hey, Zambonilad, excuse me. I'm not asking you for like your full name. I just would like to know, what is your first name, or make one up so we can have an adult conversation.
I don't understand why the first name of Zambonilad can't be applicable as a first name to have an adult conversation.
Because it's incredibly stupid. And I would like you to give me... Okay, here's the deal. Here's what I'm going to call you. I'm going to call you Adolph from here on out. And then you just respond to that, and we will go from there. All right, let's talk about this tweet that you had a brilliant response for. Okay, here's what happened on social media. I shared a photo, which I think pretty easily and well explains very well the inflation situation.
Yeah, a weight-based analogy about
Adolph,
inflation.
Adolph, calm down. I'm going to get to you in just a second. I have to explain to the audience what the tweet is. Okay, Adolph, calm down. So
right.
what?
Well, since we wasted so much time talking about my Twitter profile, we're finally getting to it. I appreciate that.
Because you're behaving like an 8-year-old. Calm down for a second, and we'll get to this. Here's what the image showed. Somebody asked the question, says, can someone explain to me how inflation keeps going down? Like people are saying that. And this person said, I used to weigh 200 pounds. In 2020, I gained 5 pounds. In 2021, I gained 11 pounds. In 2022, I gained 9 pounds. In 2023, I gained 6 pounds. And this year, I only gained 3 pounds. So my gain is down, but now I weigh 234. And I think that explains it pretty well. Our inflation
well, what did you
rate,
say above the tweet?
Shut up, you quotes. Moron, and let me explain it, Adolph. Be quiet. Just shut up for a second. So the point the person is making here is that we've had as high as 9% inflation over the last 3.5 years. We've had 20% inflation overall over the last 3.5 years. And just because now it's down to, I think it was 3% or somewhere in that range, that doesn't mean inflation is going down. It means inflation has slowed, but the accumulation of inflation leads to 20% increase in cost across the board. So the idea that inflation is down is kind of a silly thing to say. That's what it means. Your response, Adolph, was inflation is always positive, you dumbass. That's a quote. Otherwise, it's deflation. Is that what you want to see in the economy?
So here's my question, Dale. Why are you picking 3 years as like where you're measuring from? What is special or significant about 3 years? And you're saying, oh, it's 20% over 3 years, but inflation is measured year over year.
Why are we picking the entire presidency of Joe Biden to talk about inflation during his presidency when we're having a discussion about whether it should continue? Is that really your question?
What happened to inflation between 2018 and 2020?
It went up. But it was at a low rate. It always goes up. It's very rarely do we have actual deflation.
I'm looking at the graph.
The number they shoot for is around 2%. We're at 20%. And this doesn't take into account that on issues like groceries and gasoline, it's more than 20%. Housing, it's more than 20%. We're seeing real issues here, and people have a hard time making ends meet. That's why they're focusing on things like the Inflation Reduction Act, which I think we agree did not reduce inflation. And we talk about that and how it's created a bigger problem for people. That's why this analogy is apt. What is your problem with the analogy? The number of years they're using?
Right. Well, you're just picking an arbitrary amount of years and saying inflation hasn't gone down during that time, but it actually has. It spiked in 2022 and it dove off a cliff. That's inflation,
and it's
going
still
down,
significantly higher. Hold on. It's still significantly higher than it has been and where you want it to be. And this is the equivalent of doing this thing where you say, oh, well, immigration is down in the last 6 months, as if it ignores everything that came before that. You can say, yes, crime is down from an all-time peak. It's still high, but it's down from where it was. You don't get credit for things being less crappy than they were when you made them really crappy. I mean, that's not...
So, was there anything in 2020 that you think maybe influenced that, or what do you think led to the spike in inflation that we see?
An
that we are now coming
spending.
Down from. Oh, really? There wasn't any kind of effects on manufacturing or goods and services around that time that maybe affected the prices of those things?
Well, yes, but the increase in government spending had something to do with it as well. It's both things. I'm not suggesting.
Well, what was that factor that wasn't government spending?
Are you talking about COVID?
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you understand?
Hold on. The way you asked that, do you think that was a profound point?
Well, I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page of what caused
Adolph, you believe that was a profound point. Holy crap. That's amazing. Hold on one second. Hold on. Shut your ignorant mouth for just a second, Adolph. Yaffe, you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to give the example of Biden's doing this with government spending as well. Oh, I've lowered the deficit.
Yep.
After we've blown out spending, the deficit this year is going to be $2 trillion, by the way. But that won't have an effect on inflation, according to Adolph there.
Yeah. Go ahead, Adolph.
Well, right. So in your original tweet where you posted that snip that you read off, you said the inflation is going down deception. So, but I think we've come to an agreement that after a large spike around 2020 through 2022, inflation has gone down since then, right?
I mean, if you're arguing if it's down from a high, yeah, that's true, but it's a deception because it doesn't tell the whole story. Do you understand that part?
Because we don't pick
hold on,
3 years or some arbitrary time scale.
You asked a stupid question. Now you're going to be talked to like you're 6. The argument here that I'm making, which is very clear, and it's laid out both in my statement and in the tweet that follows, is that inflation has gone very high, and now it's still above where it should be, but it's less high from the very high. Do we agree with that?
I mean, it is coming down from a large spike after a significant global pandemic
we do agree with
affected
that.
the prices
we do agree
of
with that.
services.
Let me ask you this, Adolph. Adolph, can I ask you a question? Do you consider yourself to be a smart person?
No, I mean, I'd say mid-smart.
Okay.
You know, I got walking around since.
You're overshooting a bit. You are not very smart. You picked up the phone to make this phone call knowing that you were going to be embarrassed. So you did not want to give your real name. And you wanted to come in here and try to make an argument that makes absolutely no sense. Your argument that you're trying to make is that you can convince people who are feeling real inflationary pressure on their life every single day that it's not that big of a deal and that everything's going to be fine. Instead of arguing ways you can make it better, which I think is actually a pretty honest way. I mean, you're stupid, but you're also honest, because what you're saying here is the way that Kamala Harris is running her campaign is pretty smart. It's deception. And if she can convince people of things that aren't really true by using inflation keeps going down as some sort of success, then maybe she can get 4 years out of this, maybe 8. And it could possibly work. It could possibly work.
That's a good point, Dale. I do want to ask about solutions, because in our state of Alabama, Republicans and conservatives have controlled the government for, I don't know how long, an extremely long time. Why,
Actually, it's not really been that long. Hold on. Adolph. I hate to highlight, Adolph, I hate to highlight how stupid you are yet again, but it hasn't been an extremely long time. It's actually only been since 2010. Before that, Democrats had a super majority for 136 years. Do you know how long that is?
Alabama? No, it's not true.
Adolph, listen to me.
Well, hold on. 14 years.
Adolph,
we're talking about
Adolph. Hold on. Make up your mind here before you take this next step. Were you wrong and what I said was true, or are you just going to pivot to something else like I said nothing? So in 2010, Republicans flipped the state from a shut up and listen, and I will get you to where you need to go. I'm going to educate you, Adolph. I'm going to educate you. Just listen for a second. In 2010, Republicans flipped a supermajority Democratic legislature into a supermajority Republican legislature. And so that means, because you're not very smart, I'm going to help you out here. Over the last 14 years, Republicans have been in power. Now, your entire argument has just been detonated. So what you need to do is pivot to a different point. But what you've done is you're behaving in a way like you're acting like you didn't hear what I said. So you were just going to say the next thing you were going to say anyway. So think about it wisely here for a second and say, okay, I was making an argument that was stupid. Again, I got called out for making that stupid argument. Again, I'm not going to say the next stupid thing. Now say your thing.
So what is Alabama government, who has been in control since the spike in inflation, doing about it?
Do you think the state of Alabama
government, who's been in Republican control?
So I just want to make sure I understand this correctly.
Spike in inflation. That's a big problem for you. It's a big issue. So why can't our local government solve it?
Why can't our local government solve the issue of inflation that's caused by the federal government printing and spending money that they don't have? Is that I just want to make sure I understand this, Because in Alabama, we have to have a balanced budget. I don't think
we
you
do
know
not
that.
agree that that's
hold on.
inflation.
Shut your ignorant
We
yaw
agree
for a
to
second and
COVID.
listen. Just listen I'm educating you, Adolph. I'm helping you. I'm making you a better person today because you are not smart and you don't know what you're talking about. Listen. Alabama's budget has to be balanced. The United States budget does not have to be balanced. So they can spend money that we don't have. And they also have something called a printing press. Now, Adolph, that's like when you color on a piece of paper and your mommy scans it and then prints out other copies of it to give to daddy and to granny and grandpa. And everyone says, oh my God, you almost colored within the lines. And they're very impressed with you. That's sort of like a printer. But they do that with money in Washington, D.C. So what would you think that the local government, I'm assuming you mean state government, but you're stupid, so I had to read between the lines. What would you want the state government to do about inflation?
Well, if it's a real concern, they could pass regulations on prices.
So
but I don't
price
think it's a real
controls.
concern. I think this is
Price
This
controls.
is a joke. Yeah, price control. How else do you control prices?
What
Dale?
would be the first thing you would put price controls on?
Well, we already put price controls on water supply and power supply, so those are good starts. I mean, that's already been done. I would probably put
so the
price
electric
control
bill's
on
really
fuel.
low.
I think
in
fuel
Alabama.
prices being controlled would be a good thing.
What would be the first item you would put price controls on?
Fuel.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. The state of Alabama, just I'm going to track this incredibly stupid thought. The state of Alabama should say, and let's just pick a price. Let's say $2 a gallon. You cannot sell a gallon of gas for over $2. Is that fair?
Whatever they decide the right price is, sure.
What if they decide the price is $10 a gallon? Come on, come on. Adolph, stand behind what you say. Should it be $2? Should it be $3? Should it be $5? What should it be?
I bet you have a bunch of listeners that have a price in mind, and I'm sure.
Okay, so you can't even
less
answer
than what
your
it
own
is
question.
now.
But let's just say $3, Adolph, because you're stupid. So let's say $3. Okay. If I'm a gasoline supplier, why would I ever bring a single drop of gasoline into the state of Alabama? Because right now regular is about $3.20. Why would I ever bring a single drop in and lose 20 cents a gallon on that? Why would I do that if Alabama did that?
Well, I guess you wouldn't. Which is why price controls need to be controlled at a federal level.
Yeah, you're a pretty stupid person. Goodbye, Adolph. This is amazing. That right there is liberal economic theory in full display. He has no answers, only stupid questions. And when they're answered directly, he just doesn't know. Why isn't the state doing something? They're Republicans. Well, what do you want to do? Price controls. Okay, how much should it be? I don't know. Well, what if it's $3 and nobody comes there? Well, then the federal government has to do it. Listen to me, Zambonilad. Someone is going to pull you aside and say, you did a good job on the Dale Jackson show. Much like your entire life, anyone that tells you you're smart or you're doing a good job or you're likable or you're good looking or any of those things, they're lying to you. Call my show every single day, please. We'll be right back.
This is the Dale Jackson Show.